Greetings. Um, Today we're going to be doing the part two of what we started on the mind of Christ, Christ consciousness. And by the way, how are you doing today? I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. Okay. Now, just sit and contemplate the word, with me. Remember the scriptures that we started with yesterday, First Corinthians chapter 2. Let me read the last verse of that chapter, and then I will take it off from there. First Corinthians chapter 2, verses 16. It said, "For who has known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him, but we have the mind of Christ." You see, like I said in the first video, the mind of Christ is the basis of our participation, with God in his own reality. All right. And that's so important for you to understand as a believer. Now, you see, scripture just made us to understand that this is what we have. It's a possession. And so we are possessing the very mind of God. So, which means that, you see, we are not merely thinking about Christ. This is having the Christ consciousness installed into our hearts. And this is a blessing. And I want you to see this as an eternal blessing. Okay? Exploring the endlessness of the very mind of Christ is a huge blessing, a huge eternal blessing, from the Lord. And you must see it as that. Okay. Now, you know that as human beings, okay, human beings, we have doctors, we have, we have technicians, we have human beings have, they've been able to master the act of some craft, some skills. Now, I want to understand that. You see, they've been able to train their mind, okay, the same mind, but they are capable of the same thing, of different things, okay? For a doctor, for example, you go to school, all right? You want to become a doctor. Now, what they are doing when you go to school and they are teaching you, they are installing a mind in you. That mind is what enables you to become, a medical doctor, okay? You see, let's say someone who repair cars, right? You see, the process of learning how to repair cars, you are educating the mind, okay, to have that information. Information is what you call mind. When it now becomes a frame of thinking, when an information becomes a frame of thinking, become a frame of thought, a reference for thinking, a reference for actions, it becomes a mind. You see, it becomes a mind. Now, when we talk about the mind of Christ, first, it is that which is within you. We have the mind of Christ. And on the ground of that, we are to learn. That should be the basis of our education. That information, there is the information that is the mind of Christ. That ought to become the yardstick for educating the believer. Because when you fellowship around the information that is the mind of Christ, it becomes an organic way of thinking. It becomes your frame of thought. And you see, when information become a frame of thought, that is when we begin to step into the possibilities of that information. Okay, you cannot, you can't just run an operation on someone simply because you have read how they do the operation. No, but you see, that has become the basis of your practice, the basis of your education, the base. You see, you were learning along that path. Practically, you see, that became your frame of thought. You see, you are a medical doctor because the information, it's an information that made you that, not just an information, because you've been able, that information has become your frame of thought. And so when you look at something, okay, you know what to do. Why? Because it's a frame of thought. It has become, it's the basis upon which you became what you became, right? Academically. You see, the same thing is obtainable here. The mind of Christ is an information. Is an information. We cannot step into the possibilities of the mind of Christ when the mind of Christ has not become your frame of thoughts, has not become your way of thinking, your way of perception. So you see, the issue, this is not I'm reading my Bible, you know. It's not I'm reading my Bible, it's not I'm hearing message. No, it's constant, it's constant meditation. You are consistently meditating on the word, putting the word to practice, right? Now, and of course, there's going to always be a war against that because the word is always fighting for your attention. Yeah, the word is always fighting for your attention. It will shock you that you actually don't have the time to sit down quietly and, brood on the word, speak the word, practice the word. You don't have the time because you are in an age where they think productivity is the same thing as constant movement. And so to sit meditatively, contemplatively, people see it as a waste of time. You might not think it's a waste of time, but then your action says it's a waste of time because you actually don't do it. And this is what you should understand, that to organically possess the mind of Christ as a frame of thought, you must constantly give yourself to it in contemplation. In contemplation. You see. And so your at new birth, you were called to embody the very mind of Christ. That's the basis of your education. There is nothing that should educate. See, when you educate a believer with an information, now this information don't have to be wrong, don't have to be, ungodly, right? When you educate a believer with some kind of information, it's not going to make the person live up to the expectation of God's life. You see, you can't function beyond the level of information that has groomed you. You cannot. You cannot. You can't function beyond that. Okay? So there is a type of information that is meant to groom you as a believer. We are not talking about it, ah, it's not an information that that want to make you look good, moral, and no, no, no. We're talking about the information that when you continue to eat it, it changes everything about you. It preserves your body because your mind is responsive to the nature of your thought. And so, with your mind, with the mind of Christ, we can actually preserve our body. But what information is becoming a framework within your heart? And so, an information can be good, can be moral, but is powerless in terms of grooming you into becoming God's expectation, into becoming, you know, um, into becoming a very powerful being on earth. Okay, so we continue further, and I hope this bless you.